Hello everyone, welcome to this week's video. In this week's video, I'm going to be cataloguing all of my books, all of the books that I own, because I recently watched a bonus video on the Patreon of the book podcast that I listen to, Books Unbound. How many more times can I plug this book podcast? The bonus video was one of the hosts taking us, the viewer, through her Google spreadsheets of the way that she keeps track of her reading, her books that she buys, her TBR piles, her reading throughout the year, and she made a template spreadsheet for the rest of us to use and to build off of in case we wanted to document our reading in a similar fashion. Now, I've been meaning to put all of my books and my reading and everything into a spreadsheet for a really long time, for probably 3 or 4 years now, and I just never get around to it. And now is the time to get around to it. Obviously, these are not all of my books. A lot of my books are still in South Africa. I do not have that many books here, so I thought it would be a good place to start, because it's not as daunting to have to do a catalogue for maybe, I don't know, how many books do I have here? Maybe 80? I would be surprised if I have 80 books here, to be honest, in various piles around my room. So I thought we would first just do my inventory so that I know all of the books that I have, and then I'm going to go back retrospectively and do the reading data spreadsheet. I think I'll do that one off screen and then just show you afterwards, because it is a very pretty spreadsheet in my opinion. I'm gonna have to play around and change some of the names and everything, but still, we're gonna do that. I am going to start at the top of my bookshelf, and actually I'm gonna show you that right now. I'm gonna start at the top of my bookshelf and work my way down and across, and then to the next shelf, all the way across and then down. And then when I get to my book shelf, I don't know what to call this, my book windowsill, I guess, if you will, I'll just move from left to right, because right on the end is my TBR for May, and so those are the most current books on my mind, I guess. But it doesn't really matter that much how I go through them, because at the end of everything, I'm just going to alphabetically sort all of the books in this inventory anyway by the author's surname. Moving over to the spreadsheets, you can now all see my screen. Good for you. I am just going to get into it. Obviously, the line that you can see here right now is not my books. This is just part of the template. So the columns are author, title, edition, or format, if you will, read versus unread, and then which genre it is. Very, very easy, very simple tracking of the inventory. If we go over to the reading data spreadsheet, this is where it gets a little bit crazy. You have a whole lot of different things, which we will get to once I have input all my books. Then there's a books acquired spreadsheet for all the books you buy in a specific year. And then there's also a TBR, meaning how many books are on your physical TBR at the start of the month. How many did you read within the month? Did you unhaul any? Did you DNF any? How many did you buy any new books in the month? And then what is the total books that you have on your physical TBR at the end of the month then. Nonetheless, we're going to get into the inputting of the things. So the first book I have is 3 Rooms by Joe Hamya. It is a collection of short stories, if I'm not mistaken. See, the thing is, for edition, that is a paperback, but it's not a trade paperback, because trade paperbacks are the big kind of paperbacks that are usually the same size as the hardcover version of the book. but just a paperback version. So that's not a trade paperback. And it's also not mass market paperback. What do I just call? Do you know? I'm just gonna go easy. Paperback versus hardcover. That's all I'm gonna put in here. Read versus unread. This one is currently unread. Wow, I can't spell unread. And it is short. Actually, is it short stories? I don't think that one is short stories. We're just gonna put fiction. Maybe I should also keep it simple and just put fiction versus non-fiction. Then you people are gonna see how very bad or how very little I know about using spreadsheets by how inefficient I probably am using all of these things right now. The next up one is Dangers of Smoking in Bed by Mariana Enriquez. Why are some of these things in the center and others not? That annoys me. I need everything. Gosh, I don't even know how many books I own. So we're just gonna go to 250. I definitely don't own 250 books, but anyway, I want it all to be left aligned. Does that now? Thank goodness. Although these are all, I want these all to be, how to select, there we go. I want these all to be center aligned. Here we go. How easy when you actually figure out how to do things. This is also unread. It is also fiction. Then, next up is, whoa, Brent Katie. How to Kill Men and Get Away with It. This is also a test of how well I can type under pressure with it. There we go. Paperback, unread. Wow, why does it always take me to the next line when I do that? I want no. There we go. Then the last one on this thing is Armfield, Julia. Private Rights. Paperback, unread, fiction. Wow, I've got so many unread things on my list here. Now we get into my classics. Yay! Plath. Sylvia. Whoa, you don't spell Sylvia with an I, or at least not this Sylvia. The Bell Jar. That's not it. Great stuff. Jar. There we go. It is paperback. It is unread. It is fiction. Although, do I want to put classics there? No, we're gonna keep it even. We're gonna keep it most simple. Although I might want to check how many highlight all my classics at a point. Classics? Classic. Classic? Okay, then we have Wolf. Whoa. Wolf. Virginia. I can't spell under pressure. Actually, I can't spell when I'm trying to talk at the same time. Why do I want... I don't want to convert to table. It is already a table. Thank you. Why? Go away. Paperback. Can you tell I like paperbacks? I'm not a hardcover fan. Most of the books on this list are going to be paperback because I really don't have very many hardcovers. What is the woman's name? Agatha. I should maybe shut up and just do this. We have our first red. Yay! How? Why do you keep doing this to me? I don't want to make it drop down chips. Thank you. Classic. Then, next up is Morrison. Tony. jazz. I like one-word titles. It makes it so much easier for me to do. Hello, why won't you give me the option here? Thank you. Then we've got Morrison, Tony again, Sula, paperback, unread, whoa. And a classic. Miss Bronte, Emily. Why? Then it is Wuthering Heights. Had anybody seen the new Wuthering Heights movie? If so, what were your thoughts? Because I saw it, but I haven't read the book, so I feel I can't pass judgment. I mean, I can. I can pass judgment anyway. It was okay, I guess. It wasn't terrible, but again, I don't have anything to compare it to because I've not read the book. But everybody is very upset about it. Obviously, all the people who have read Wuthering Heights. I thought it was okay until the halfway mark, and then it just started to get really weird. And then I did not like it so much anymore. And I want to read the book to see if the story is that weird, or if it's just Emerald Fennell's interpretation of the story. I'm assuming it's just Emerald's interpretation, because I can't imagine such a weird book being published back then. Now, sure. Back then, nope. Although, I mean, a lot of weird books were published back in olden times. I mean, everything Gertrude Stein wrote was published. So then it's very fitting, actually, that the woman who wrote the Vagina Monologue's name is Eve. I wonder if that's just her pen name or if that's her real name. Probably her real name, right? We shall find out at some point. Is it Otessa with a double T? Yes. Last one on this shelf, and then I'm gonna time-lapse you because I feel I have no more interesting tidbits to say, and also you might not want to listen anymore. Okay, we've done one whole shelf, and on that shelf there were 30 books. Wow, and most of them are unread. Okay, that's quite sad. Look at the first 9 books. The first 9 books on that shelf are unread. But that's going to change this year because I have plans to read at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those books I'm planning to read. Not of the first 9, of the first bookshelf. I think I'm going to read more than that. But in my mind planning that I've done for the year, I've already planned to read 8 of those books. Whether I'll get around to it is a different question. Okay, now I'm gonna shut up and continue my cataloguing. Okay. As you will be able to tell by the changed light conditions, it is several hours later and I have mostly filled in all of these things. I've completely filled in the inventory tab. I've almost filled out the reading data tab. I wanted to do the last couple with you to show you how it works. I have not touched the books acquired or the TBR piles because the books acquired I'm going to have to go and do a little digging, because as you can see there's a lot of things I need to add. Title, author, place bought, date purchased, price paid, age, format, genre, translated, read it, state, and status, whether I still own the book. I need to do a little bit of digging for this, because all of the books I bought this year I have bought online, so I'll have to go back into my emails and find them in there. And then the TBR thing will be easier because I just have to see how many books I bought each month. It won't be that many. Back to the reading data. I have read I have entered 16 of the books I have read so far this year. I've read 19. Once I finish Green Gage Summer, I will have read 20 books this year. And it's not even halfway through the year. If I keep going like this, I'm well on my way to read more than 40 books this year, which will be the most I have ever read. But we'll see what happens later in the year. I have a feeling my reading is going to plummet later this year. But anyway, so the next book I need to enter, I've also done a little split screen on Firefox here. It's very cool, it's a new feature, and I'm enjoying it. It's very helpful for this, so far at least. The next book I need to enter is Big Swiss. Not Big Sweden, Big Swiss, by Jen Began. And then you can kind of see what the process is. It's the first time that I'm reading this. Why is this top thing not locked anymore? It was, this is the thing that I need to do. I need to add a couple of columns because there's a few things that I need to do that need changing. Then this is fiction. It is apparently contemporary, LGBTQ, and literary, according to the tags on Storygraph. So I don't have any tags for this yet. I have a couple. I have had to add very many tags so far, but I don't have a contemporary or LGBTQ tag yet. So let's add those. And then you can see which colors I choose also. Contemporary. What color do we want to make contemporary? What is the color? The color of the year is white, right? The Dulux color of the year is white. But there's a different company who make also paints, whose color of the year is plum. But I'm not jamming with either of those colors. What is the overall vibe that we're going for here? What color don't I really have? I don't have a really pastel yellow yet. So let's do that one. Let's go for yellow. That's leaning way too much green. Hello, how about we make it equal parts every color? Oh, that didn't help me. Wow, okay, fine. A really lovely little pastel yellow. Beautiful. And then another item, which is the alphabet. Alphabet soup. And I can't make it a rainbow, which is kind of annoying. Can I? No, I can't. Okay, so what color are we gonna make it? Brown. If you mix all colors together, it's brown. So am I gonna make it brown? That would actually be quite funny. But I don't know how that will work on the... Hello? I want to say cancel. I want to just pick from the colors thing. close to dark orange, close to grey. Let's go for close to dark orange then, and change the text color to neon neon green. Woo! Yeah, no, I'm kidding. Oh, that actually looks really ugly. We're not gonna do that. How about, I've got so much pink and red tones on this thing already though. How about Control Z? Can't I undo? Why won't you let me undo? How rude. Okay, fine, we're gonna go back to this. This is pretty. Not really screaming LGBTQ at me, but if you mix all the colors together, it turns brown. So, here we go. Apply to all. The only problem is, I mean, I can actually make it so that I can click 2 options on this drop-down menu, but I don't want to become that entwined in my reading. So I'm just gonna set this one to contemporary, because that's the top. It's the top tag next to fiction on Storygraph. Then I read it as an audiobook. Jen Began is from, where is the question? Probably the US. American novelist and writer. Great stuff. Then it's not translated from anything. I finished it on April 14th. Wow, I can type. In spring. And it was from, let's say bought. I need to change these tags. I didn't buy it, but I read it. Actually, I have an Ever and tab. Why not I just use it? It was published in 2023. 2020s is the decade. I haven't rated any of the books that I've read this year. So I'm not adding anything in the rating column, but I'm leaving it there because I might want to rate my books next year when I just make a copy of this list and start afresh. Then this column has a potato in it because it's for mashed potato books. This column has a feather in it because it's my 26 Classics in 2026 challenge. I haven't added a feather to any of the columns or the rows where I've added the classic books yet. And then this one has a little globe in it because it is for my Around the World in 80 Books challenge, which I haven't started yet, but which will be starting probably next month. I'm thinking of starting this challenge next month. Okay, then we go on to the next book, which is Witches, Witch Hunting, whoa, and Women by Sylvia. Did I type that wrong? Yes. Sylvia Federici. First time reading it. This was also an audiobook. It is non-fiction, feminism, history, politics. I don't have very many tags for non-fiction books as of yet. Literally the only one I have is self-help. So let's make a new one for feminism. And I really want to make feminism pink, but I've got so many pinks already. I've got literary fiction is pinkish, horror is red, sci-fi is hot pink, romance is like a coral color. So many red colors, but oh well, it's the year of red and pinks. I could also make it purple. I could make it like a pinky purple, but I don't really like any of these colors. This is not my... Ooh, actually, this really light pink is quite pretty. Then we can do... copy that hex code, paste it in here. Hello? Paste it in here, and then just make it darker so you can actually see the title. That's funny. It's actually not funny. But anyway. Okay, while I'm here, I'm gonna add another one for memoir. I don't think I've read a memoir this year, but I am going to this month. What color do we make memoir? Green. Because memories are green. Why do you not work with me when I do this? What is a nice color for memoir? Not that color. Sage, a kind of... That's actually really pretty, just maybe a bit lighter. That's good. Then, oops. Copy. Paste. Watch the text disappear. And then I really like this idea that it's all very soft, even though memories are not soft. Memories are often very I was going to say tragic and triggering at the same time, and then it just didn't work. Tragic, triggering. Anyway, non-fiction. Down to the bottom, feminism. How cute, pink. And then this was also an audiobook. Sylvia is from where? Probably also American. Yep. How'd I know? I finished this one on which day? April 15th. This was the week where I finished 3 books in 1 week. 15, spring. It was Everand. When was this published? 2018, not 2008, and the decade is the 2010s. Okay. Back. Then the last one is The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. My first time reading all of these books. 272 books, 2 books, pages. I'm talking absolute nonsense. It is a classic. And then literary, according to Storygraph, it was physical. He is from the US. And nope. I jumped ahead of myself. April 24th. Spring. TBR. Although I think I bought this one this year, if I'm not mistaken. 1926, the 1920s. There was actually a very funny case a couple of books earlier here, where both The Lifted Veil, if I'm not mistaken, nope, Tenant of Wildfell Hall, and The Lady of the Comedias were published in the same year, and I read them back to back. So that was a bit of deja vu when I was filling that out. But anyway, then now what I want to do is I want to add a column here. Insert one column to the, not to the left. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to insert column to the left here. We want to add our minutes for audiobooks. Then I need to delete all of these cells. There we go. And then we can go back and fill this in. Then the next title, no, column I wanted to add was language, because some of the books I'm reading in not English. Most of them are going to be in English, but some of them are going to be in German, and maybe one day some of them might even be in Afrikaans. Nope, this was not English. German, correct. Hello. Why is German not with a capital G? Why are you giving me German like this, my friends? Then English, English, English. Great stuff. now we can go back and add all of my little feather. Let's add the feather emoji and then copy and paste. But it wasn't from this one. It was this one, not this one, not this one. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Not that one, 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 this one. Wow, really big gap between those books. The Side of Paradise, yes, and then The Sun Also Rises. Great stuff. That's that really. A lot of England. My country is skewing very much England this year. This year. What am I saying? Actually, yes, this year. My brain is so tired. So, if we go back to my inventory, I have a total of 70 books. Oh, also, I wanted to... can I... How do I make this short sheet? Yes, short sheet A to Z. There we go. How nice. Oh, that is so nice. I said, that is so nice until I looked at just unread, everything unread. 78.3% of my TBR, of my inventory is unread versus 21.7% read. Mostly classics. Mostly classics. That's interesting, but actually, given that I want to read 26 classics this year, it makes sense that I own a lot of classics. And also I just own a lot of classics even outside of the books that I want to read this year. So, interesting. Then fiction, then non-fiction, and then all the other mini things in between, like poetry, letters. What is the other thing I added? Plays. I have 2 plays. So those plays don't even count in my classics section, otherwise my classics would have been longer. I mean, bigger, more higher percentage. My gosh, okay. 85.5% of them are paperbacks, 8.7% hardcovers, and 5.8% trade paperbacks, so the big paperbacks, which literally is 4 books. I have 4 trade paperback sized books. That's me done. As you can tell, my voice is starting to fail me, so it's my cue to shut up. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it inspires you to maybe make a spreadsheet of your books if you are this type of person, if you care to have an inventory or a list of all the books you own and all the books you've read. If not, you live a more free life than most of us do, and I applaud you for that. But I like this kind of stuff, so I'm doing it. Anyway, thank you for being here. I will see you all again in my next video, which I don't know when that will be, but hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. Cheers.